Yo, 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 what's poppin' people back like we never left, yo. Just read the chapter. Not doing a live reaction. I'm gonna be super busy later today. So I want to do something and it's way too late or too early to do a live reaction, but I want to talk about the chapter, man. Um, we're just gonna go through it really quickly. Um, and everything that happened. I mean, it's particular things I want to talk about based on everything that happened. But oh my God, yo. Oh my God, this is a good chapter. But I guess we'll start with like the cover page, which revolved around Hancock looking sexy as ever. It said Hancock enjoying the pool. But let's get to the chapter. For the chapter, pretty much the start of it was Sanji apologizing to Luffy and those guys about how he's been acting. He's shown a lot of regret and I feel like that's typical and that's expecting of Sanji based on everything that happened, right? So um, uh, I expected the Straw Hats to meet up, and we saw that they managed to talk to each other through the mirrors, and that's the convenient thing about this chapter so far, or this arc, where it's been set up that for the Straw Hats to be able to communicate, or for the Straw Hats to be able to move around um, uh, any way they want to, pretty much. And I feel like um, it you can see it's kind of convenient, but it goes with the plot as well, based on everything that's happening. So they find a little piece of the mirror, chopping those guys to communicate in Sanji, and basically they tell Luffy that they got a poneglyph. Luffy like, you guys are the best. That was cool. Um, but then they talked about Luffy and his plans. Luffy saying they're gonna bust Big Mom's party and wedding and save Sanji's family. And I'm trying to figure out how exactly is he gonna save Sanji's family? Because don't save her, she don't want to be saved, yo. So it's like it's one of those where they don't even want to be saved, but they're trying to save them. So we'll see how that plays out. Um, Nami lays into Sanji, yo. Like she really goes in talking about, yo, like I heard you had to fight with Luffy, you stupid dummy. But I was worried. You're okay now, so it's fine. So Nami when she sees Sanji again, she's probably gonna be throwing hands, yo. She's probably gonna be throwing hands because of everything that's happening. Everything that's happening. So um uh moving on though. Moving on, we got to that hype Jimbe dialogue. And Jimbe, my boy Jumbo, yo. Jumbo pretty much laid it out. Jumbo laid it out to the point where I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? So, um, Jinbei goes on to say, Luffy, we all know what we've got to do. Um, it says, then you must save at all costs. Okay, so that's when Luffy remembers that Reiju saved his life. And I'm like, you nigga, like she saved your life. Like, what are you talking about? So Luffy remembers that Jimbo, or Reiju saved his life. And then they go on about how he has to save her. And then Jumbo, goes into Big Mom a bit deeper. And on the stream just now, we were talking about how Big Mom could possibly be defeated. And this page, bro, this page pretty much confirms that shit ain't happening. They're not defeating Big Mom. Like, no, there's no way in hell that they're defeating Big Mom. So Jinbei says to incite the full-blown wrath of one of the Yonko. And what's more, you all, it seems you've already been confronted by various ministers, but within the Big Mom Pirates, they are but the tip of the iceberg. There will surely be many fierce warriors, and even them in attendance at the tea party. And not to mention the emperors of the underworld, invited from various nations from across the seas. Yo, this is something we anticipated to happen. Like we anticipated, like um people from the underworld or Big Mom inviting like a lot of top tier people to kind of join her festivities, and she has connections to the underworld, which makes sense because she has a great network. We haven't seen much of that based on everything that's been happening, but for the most part, this confirms that Big Mom has ties everywhere, and she's inviting the emperors of the underworld. This could be a translation thing where I don't know how that's going to work out as far as once we get official translations, but saying the emperors of the underworld, meaning like all the top guys in the underworld. Big Mom has connections to. Um, so everybody's gonna be there. Everybody's gonna be there. Um, so then, a funny part was when Jimbe says, "For us, as for us, as for we." I mean, the translation is pretty not that great. As for we who are standing against them, there are merely 10 of us. And Brule and Diesel, they're like, "Hey, don't you include us in this mess? Don't go fudging the numbers. There's merely 8 of you, not 10, and you can all go and get yourself murdered, as far as I'm concerned." So pretty much, yo, pretty much, the chapter shit is getting hype. So Jinbei goes on to say, Luffy, I already talked about this with everyone on the side, but do you know of Capone gang Beige? And Jumbo goes into Capone's backstory. He says that Capone is one of his contemporaries, and that Capone, um, uh, he's one of the 5 great families, and those are basically the 5 bosses of the mafia. They say his moniker gang comes from the remnants of his younger days. As we know, Capone is probably like 46. Um, if I'm not mistaken. He's around 46. So we were always like, what was he doing back then? Why is he just now a supernova? And this has been revealed that the reason why Capone is this old and he's a supernova is because he was fucking being a savage, yo. They call him loose cannon. He like cutting off animals' heads and laughed as he watched their writhing bodies. So pretty much Capone, he cuts off the head. He cuts off the head and he watches the rest of the body suffer. So I don't think um this elevates Capone in a way where he has so much experience previously that even though he's a new pirate, it's like, okay, this man is gonna be a beast. So they said that Capone, even in his younger days, he was already gunning for the heads of the bosses of the underworld. Even if he commanded an entire family, he wanted to go after them. It did not matter. He was going after them. And they also said he didn't care about territory and shit like that. Like that didn't matter to him. And he just stole money and precious items. Um, and he got a kick out of this shit. So this was pretty much Capone, that he's just a fucking sadistic person. That's how he is. And they say that an eye for an eye, and people came chasing after him, and they call his ironclad fortress. So pretty much his devil fruit and how his devil fruit works. He's a defensive guy. That's his specialty. He's not a fighter, right? He's not a fighter. Well, to the point where he's more of a defender. So he uses whatever forces he has because he always has his crew with him. So that's what he uses to kind of bolster his firepower. He's Big Shield Gardner, pretty much. Like he has great defense. Offensively, that could be an issue. They said he grew bored of his dominance in the gang world, and he set out to seize, and his methodologies did not change. Um, they say he quickly gained infamy, and he still kept taking the heads of pirate captains and leaving their crews intact. So Capone, yo, I don't know. I remember it was a lot of hype for Rouge. It was a lot of crazy hype for Rouge. Um, I wonder what the hype is going to be for Capone after reading this. Luffy asked, "Why are you telling this all to us now, Jimbe?" Um, and he says that even when he journeyed out to sea, he was continuously chased by those seeking revenge. So then he became a subordinate of Big Mom. And he said now he's sharpened his wariness. In addition to his defensive prowess, he's earned the title of Rook. Okay. So that goes back to um, the chess piece ranks that Big Mom has. And Capone, based on his strength, he is a Rook. I mean, it's Big Mom's is a bit weird though, because when we saw, it was kind of out of order in comparison to the actual value of a chess piece, because it's like King, Queen, Rook, Bishop, Knight. So I don't know. I don't know. We will see exactly where Capone stands as far as that's concerned, but he's on the title of Rook, and he's been given full authority over the security detail. People used to say that Big Mom, that Capone, he's on Big Mom's crew, and he was just pretty much a pawn. Now he's higher than that, yo. He's a bit higher than that. He is a rook, and he's been given security detail. That's that's pretty much falling right into Capone's hands. Like, are you kidding me? Okay, so he's over the security detail, right? Over the security detail of the event. And Jimbo confirms that Capone intends to take Big Mom's head then and there. And we were just talking about this, yo. We were just talking about this shit where Capone, being who he is, trying to take Big Mom, bro, bro. So he's over defense. He's like over security. That's his. Capone is gonna walk right up to Big Mom. He's gonna know where all the soft spots are. Like he's a fucking like the Thomas just said, he's just smart, like a sociopath. Um, so moving on, it gets deeper. This shit gets even deeper, which blew me away because I did not see this coming. Um, Sanji mentions that this tea party is just steeped with conspiracy. Um, And then Jimbe goes on to say some crazy shit, right? He says, well, he confirms the Peckham's thing. Like I've been saying this whole Peckham's thing that Peckham's once he got shot by um uh Beige, that he fell in the water. Someone from Jimbe's crew, they saved him. Yeah, that was pretty obvious. Then Luffy goes on. Luffy's getting a little pissed. I would never forgive Beige. Blah blah blah. But then it says Luffy from here on out is the meat of the conversation on page 15. I've heard everything about this plan for Peckham's himself, and I've done quite a bit of thinking on how you all should act from here. So Jimbo is fulfilling his role in the crew. Um, Fulfilling his role in the crew where we expected Jimbo to fill this veteran spot where this is the guy that's going to kind of let him know, like, this is what I think we should do. We cannot be reckless and jump into things. We have to come up with a plan and have a strategy going forward. And this is what Jimbe is doing. He's doing this perfectly, and I'm loving it right now because this is development for the Straw Hats. If we go back to, if we want to equate it to like Kingdom, we saw how Kingdom, if they don't have a strategist, everything falls apart. And I think Jimbo could be what could bolster their crew. Pedro, I think he's the same way, of the same vein. So either one, if either one joins the crew or the main crew, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because they're leaning on to the same thing. So Jinbei says, once I heard this whole story, I knew that you would want to rescue Sanji and his family, and I feel bad for Peckham's, but this is not a time to make an enemy of Beige. And it's funny, when I saw this panel, right? He said, Luffy, would you join forces with Beige? And I said, hold the fuck up, bro. I said, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. After all that happened, you're asking him to join forces for Capone. Granted, this makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because Capone is over the security detail. Capone knows the soft spots. All Capone wants is Big Mom's head. He couldn't give a fuck about Germa. So they're like, let's join with Capone. This is funny though. This is funny because I remember people were saying that Luffy would never join Capone because Luffy would never support Capone taking out Big Mom in an underhanded way. Right? And I'm like, Nani? This chapter is saying pretty much, that shit is went left. And page 17 is a full spread, so much detail here. And this dialogue surprised the fuck out of me, right? This surprised me because Luffy says, you might be onto something here, bruh. Luffy says you might be onto something here. I was like, what? Luffy? I was like, get out of here, yo. Get out of here. I was like, this is some development. This is Luffy developing because Sanji says, are you insane? Um, and then Nami, they're saying he's crazy. Um, and Jimbo, what I like, Jimbo's like, I thought he'd say that. So is this saying that Luffy or Jimbo at this point he knows Luffy better than he knows how Luffy thinks? I mean, he spent a lot of time with Luffy, not more than the Straw Hats, but he knows how he thinks, and he's not surprised how Luffy's saying, that makes sense. Um, and Luffy says he wants to meet him right away. He wants to meet him right away, so they're gonna meet him. And then on this same spread, they talk about my boy Bobbin, and like I predicted it when I first saw it. Vito was the one who did it, and he did it because he says he was chasing after Blackleg, and Germa are my heroes after all. So that was not tongue in cheek. That was not tongue in cheek. So that was him literally being a fanboy. He's a fanboy of it. Listen, if you guys go back, right? If you guys go back to um the fucking the start of this arc, I mentioned that Capone will join with Germa and Luffy to take down Big Mom. Like I said that at the beginning of the arc because as far as the narrative and the prose of the story, it made more sense for this Yonko, this great force on her territory, to go against all the opposing forces on that island because it wouldn't make sense for Germa and Capone or Germa and Big Mom against Capone and Luffy. Like that was the thing that made the most sense. So therefore, I'm not surprised with the developments here. I'm not at all because this is pretty much what I saw. This is what I forecasted. I like this. This made the most sense based on the power, the title of the encore. I know some people say we overrate that. Maybe we do, but based on that, you need a lot to take this woman down. And now I'm weary. I'm fucking weary because Big Mom could fall this arc. Big Mom could definitely fall this arc because Capone is over her security details. So that's something here. Another interesting fucking point, bro. So much shit in this chapter. Capone, they said Jimbo isn't a man who joke around about something like this. It's the only logical that neither of us would want to make ourselves more enemies. So this confirms, this confirms what's gonna happen going forward. The supernovas, like throughout the arcs, they're gonna join forces. So Wano, I highly I me and Matt Mugiwara Matt B, we talked about this I don't know, like a month ago, where we felt like all the supernovas are gonna go to Wano. And based on Capone working with Luffy here, they're gonna have to work again. I think they're gonna work again to take down Kaido. And then he's probably gonna bring Capone. Zoro and Law gonna be like, yo, what the fuck? Why is he here? Um personally, personally, I think Killer is gonna show up. I still think that. I believe Killer has ties with the underworld. He's one of the I feel like Killer's lineage goes back to the underworld, and he's probably going to go there to invade Big Mom's party to request the help of the Straw Hats. Killer, Capone, Luffy goes back to Wano. Law, Zoro, Kid, Apu, Hawkins already there. The other one is Bonnie, right? Bonnie, and Bonnie, she showed interest in the Straw Hats in a panel. After Doflamingo was defeated. So I think that's what's gonna happen. Um, but Capone says, it all depends on the Straw Hat's attitude. And fucking Caesar is next to him, dude. Caesar's right next to him. So Caesar's already out. Caesar is already out, yo. I think we know Caesar's character. Um, we know Caesar's character where he's willing to do anything to get to like basically roam free. So Caesar Capone probably came up was like, yo, what it is. I'm over security detail, blah blah blah. Fucking Perispearl, you're done. You're done. And Capone, you think Capone is always by himself, but he's always with this crew. He can ambush anyone. Anyone, yo. So this was a very good chapter. So much. How is I don't know how you cannot give this chapter a 10 based on everything we got from this chapter. It was an amazing setup chapter. We got Caesar's free. We know what Capone wants to do. We know what Luffy's about to do. And I think after this chapter, we got to probably just skip to the wedding. We got to do that. Um, but Caesar's free, yo. Like, what the fuck? Caesar's free right now. Um, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say, but fucking hype chapter. Like this was an amazing chapter. Like so many theories can come from this. Like it's so many theories. Like that can just bro. But I like the fact that Sanji's kind of reverted back to his own character. He's reverted back and now we know exactly um hopefully we get some more from him and it's not just okay, status quo because he still needs to redeem himself. And he realizes that. Um so let me see what it did. Uh hold on. Listen, that looks a lot like fucking Caesar, yo. That looks a lot like Caesar. I mean, if that's not Caesar, that's fucking trolling, bro. He has the fucking gloves on. I mean, you know, you could be right. You could be right. Could be right. Could be right. That looks just like fucking Caesar. Said, I have a feeling while Luffy will join forces with Capone, he's still gonna check him. Maybe everybody's saying gang. Maybe Capone is success to the Big Mom, just like Luffy to Shanks. Well, here's the thing. The only other twist is if Capone, right? If Capone is playing the Straw Hats. Well, I think he's going to use them anyway. I think he's going to use them anyway. But if Capone, like Big Mom knows what Capone plans to do, like, okay, so here's the thing. Capone is playing Jimbe, but he's telling Big Mom that he's playing Jimbe. But Big Mom does not know he's really playing her. But in addition, he's really playing all of them. But he's acting like a double agent, but he's kind of like telling Big Mom, well, this is what Jumbo expects to happen. And Big Mom's just like, okay, well, you know, he's just going along with it. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy how much can happen from this. I'm blown away. I'm blown away by how much shit happened in this chapter. But let me know what you guys thought about this chapter. Let me see. Hold on. There's a big chance Capone gets caught and Luffy escapes. Triple agent. Caesar has horns. Kaido killed him. Kaido didn't kill anybody, bro. I can see Capone eating King Kongan if he tries any shady shit. Yeah, based on this, I think it's confirmed that Capone can tank a Kongan. I don't think a Kongan is doing he he's a defensive fighter. That's his strength. So I don't think a Kongan is, you know, just decimating him. R.I.P. Bobbin. I do think he's coming back. I really do. But right now, R.I.P. Bobbin. Believe in Bobbin 2017. I gave the chapter a 10, Bow. I think based on everything that we got, amazing shit. Luffy will fight Big Mom. I never got tired of stating that since what happened. And then you cry I was wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if Pudding will be revealed to be an ally of Capone. And just like that, I think Big Mom can follow this arc. And I agree. I completely agree. Um, uh, Kongan is a what? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Kongan is obliterating Capone. No way. No way. No way. Frank McLean said, Brago, stop downgrading Luffy. You look corny. Like, you look corny. Fuck? What? But I'm saying, like, there's no way. Kongan is not decimating him. Like, no. He's a defensive fighter. That's his strength. Like, there's no way Kongan is just going to decimate him. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Capone thinks he's going to punk Luffy. Capone is fucking weak. Yep. Yep, Capone is weak. Did he get Sanji going back to his regular self? He's single out that the only one to save Nami. I'm so fucking happy that my boy is back. Brago, last stream he said Big Mom isn't going down. No, I don't think she's going down, but I think a lot of things are in place for her to go down. As far as the Capone being the major thing for me is Capone being in charge of security detail. That's that's the thing. That's the thing that's kind of that has me wary. So if the plan is successful, that may make Beige the next Yonko. Here's the thing: Capone does not care about territory. He just wants to cut off the head. That's he doesn't. They say he didn't care about. He just wants Big Mom's treasures, and he just wants to cut off Big Mom's head. He's a sadistic guy. Like he's a fucking sociopath. Like Capone does not. He doesn't want the territory. You know that's not what he wants. So, um, yeah, I don't like Khan Gun decimating him. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if we ever see it, but I think based on this, they say that Capone and him being this like defensive mastermind, I think like that's his strength. I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think like Kangan is decimating him like that. I don't think so. I don't think so. Like I said, this is playing even more into the whole Red Wedding thing, like Game of Thrones. So I made a theory last year about it, about the whole thing with Capone, um, who the actual Al Capone got taken down by. Um, so yeah, what was his name? I think if I remember my theory correctly, um, Capone, the actual Capone, got taken down by Fred Burke, and his nickname was Massacre Soldier. So I don't know, I don't remember, but I tied it in really well. So Fred Burke, his alias was no. So Fred Burke, his his alias. Fred Burke was the one who took down Al Capone. Um, uh, Fred Burke, he was the prime suspect in the infamous St. Valentine's Day massacre. And Fred Burke, his nickname, his alias was Killer. And Killer's alias in One Piece right now is Massacre Soldier. So that's where I got the theory that Killer is going to be the one to come back at the actual wedding. So that's where I got that from. It's late as fuck, bro. Oh my god. But yeah, no live reaction today, obviously. Um, like the stream, like the stream. Um, I honestly don't know if it's gonna be a discussion today. Yeah, so yeah, like the stream, people. Subscribe. I'm gonna try to get a short discussion in today. Um, we'll see what happens, but it's gonna be a long, busy day for me, and I haven't gotten any sleep yet. So, let me know what you thought about the chapter. Amazing stuff, just really good. Um, so Luffy will do what main characters do, the impossible. I honestly believe Luffy will fuck Capone over at the end of the arc. Um, People say what happened in the last one. I heard Ty got kicked. The last stream it got a bit I guess heated is the word at the end. Um, where like I said, it all comes down to respect. We just gotta have respect for each other in the streams. But hey, man, um, brothers fight. It is what it is. But like the stream, we'll see what happens next stream. Uh, but yeah, like the stream. Bow, can you get Grand Wizard a link to the Discord? Um, uh, but yeah, I plan on making another video about the chapter where I read it again and just go through it. I kind of edited video. I haven't made one of those in a while. I may do it on this channel or BDA Law. I'm not sure yet. What stream is this? This was the the Ramble stream. Um, but never will he go against Gear 4. LMF. Brago is dumb. Um, Fuck you. Um, when is the next stream? I may have a stream later. Yeah, respect is a two-way street. It is. We just gotta have more respect for each other. That's all it comes down to. Respect. But but yeah, like the stream, people. Subscribe. Um, I will catch all you guys later. It should be lit. It should be lit. I appreciate you guys coming through as usual, man. Like I said, like the content on the channel, I know it's been, you know, it hasn't been as consistent, and that's just, it comes down to a bunch of factors. But when I get the time, um, it's gonna be. I'm gonna try to make some amazing videos, um, because I do enjoy editing. I love editing, so um, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Capone pees when he sees he's gear for. Capone is weak as fuck, though, I guess. So yeah, like the stream, guys. I will see you guys later. Um, Peace.